Hello and welcome. I'm Grandmother Jonette Crowley, coming to you from Denver, and this is our March Consciousness Update. But I'm going to talk a lot more than just about this month. It's not, my updates aren't really about the month, they're just, I'm doing them once a month. So this month, whoops, I better get my right numbers up here. I've got all these papers. Okay, this month, the topic of this update is You're Not Crazy. There's two timelines that are going on, and we are moving between the both of them. So in the big picture, these two timelines are interacting, and the old timeline is based on the past, and we might imagine it's really rocky and bumpy. The new timeline is here, and it's smooth and it's ascending, and it's actually quantum, so it's not just an ascending timeline, but it's like adolescence. So when you want to be in the old place, you're 12 or 14 and you still want to hug your mom and be safe, but you've got all these hormones going through you and you want to try things, you want to be an adult, you don't want people telling you what to do. So we're in this kind of crazy space where we want to retreat to safety, what we've known in the past. But then there's part of us that goes, well, I just want to see what the world is that we can create now. So we're moving back and forth, and it's important. It's a confusing time, and it's important to traverse the space between, that we are not in the old world and we are not yet in the new world. So there's these two pulls that we have. So let's look at the old timeline. The old timeline is, I call it a victim-redeemer model. So we go from being a victim to saving everyone or needing a savior. The victim-redeemer model that we've been in for thousands of years is coming to an end, is crashing to an end, but it's still very, very strong. In fact, its strength all comes up. So we get stuck in that victimhood, or we've got to save the world. So what's important about that timeline, that model, isn't whether you're the victim or you're the redeemer or the savior or somebody else is. The important thing to understand is that is based on the past. That is based on, I need to stay safe. So the model we're moving to in this new timeline is not external power, it's internal power. So instead of looking outside for your cues and who's going to hurt you and how you're going to be safe, we're moving more and more into our inner self. So the main impetus for change is our intuition. It's not coming from protection or external. It's, what do I feel now? So we're feeling this surging growth, but it's coming inside us. And it's making us rethink things, maybe rethink relationships, jobs, where we live. So this whole period that we're moving in is very chaotic. And that's why I call this You're Not Crazy. It's just part of this change. So we're moving from external power to internal power and internal knowing. One thing to watch out for is when we move from the old timeline of Savior Redeemer, Victim Redeemer, we often get stuck in being the Redeemer, right? We're healers. So many of us are healers. We want to save the world. We want to go to power places and work with the grid work. Well, this week I was doing a personal session for someone who leads tours to power places, and my guide said, because she said, well, I've got to work with the grid work. I've got to go there to work with the grid work. And my guide said, what if there's nothing to do? What if you have no job? What if there's no need that the grid work has for you to do something? That made us both pause. I certainly pause. I go, oh my gosh, my whole world is built on Redeemer, healer, helping people. And I realize that that is this external model, that what would we do if we don't do anything? If we go to power places and we just see what comes up, we don't have a job, a mission to do. So I just throw that out there to think about it, because that's kind of the last vestige of this old adolescent sort of timeline, is we as saviors and redeemers. So again, this new timeline is about being, it's about being love, it's about intuition, it's about kind of being more like the birds and the bees. What is my action now? Do I fly south? So you're going to be spending more time just reflecting. So kind of let's look at, again, my papers are all messed up. Sorry about that. A couple of things that come up as we are in this crazy time. And one I said before is we need to traverse that empty space between the two timelines, because that's where the power is. So give yourself quiet time. Stay in bed longer if that's when you meditate. The other thing that's crazy making now is when you move between these two timelines, it's like one is compressed, frenetic, and the other is expansive. So you might find yourself moving between these two worlds. The growth isn't linear. So you're not going backwards if you're going back into compression and fear. It's just part of this opening that we're in. The other thing really to ask yourself now is, who are you? Are you the child that's always looking for protection? And of course, the child's world is me, me, me. And you see it in politics. I don't want to help those people. I want to make sure I'm safe, keep the immigrants, whatever it is. We're seeing a huge movement back into me, me, me. And I was doing a meditation a few weeks ago, and I just wanted to break out. And I heard myself saying, let me go. And I thought at first it was external, that something was holding me back. Let me go. And then I realized, oh my gosh, it's telling me to let me, the meanness of me, go. So it's not so primary. And whenever I think of letting go, I go back to my childhood. I had 5 younger brothers and sisters, and we're all in the car, station wagon, right? 6 kids. And my sister Erin was probably 4, and she had this mouse, this ugly mouse doll that was called Herman. Herman was about this big. He was plastic. And we're on a highway. And, back then you roll down the windows, or you have them open because there's no air conditioning, right? And Erin, the 4-year-old, she likes this doll, this mouse doll. She just tosses him out on the freeway and says, bye-bye, Herman. And whenever I need to let go of something, I see that picture and I say, bye-bye, Herman, bye-bye. And so I share that. So this is really a thing to be conscious of what you're letting go of, and the me, me, me. A couple things to look for in this transition that me is really good at. One is self-shaming. Oh, I deserve that because I didn't get it done fast enough, or I deserve that I don't have a lot of money because I shouldn't have done that. Notice what your inner voice is telling you. It's often self-shaming, that's my favorite, or blaming. Both of those keep us in the treadmill of me, 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 and keep us away from that I am. So just listen to your voice. It's going to tell you exactly where you're still stuck. And so in the graphic for this topic, we had a school of fish, but then a fish up front, and there's a big pool pull. There's a big pull too. There's a big pull when you're the fish out in front to keep wanting to go back to the school of fish. And we're here to support each other and ourselves in, even though our world doesn't look like everyone else's world, stay that fish in front. So this is, I guess we're saying, calling all visionaries, calling all dreamers. We are creating the world, not from what's been before, but something new. And what's specific about March now is, one, is there's no retrogrades this month at all. And as my friend Morgan McKenna of originsastrologer.com says, she says it's a time of the intense onset of astrological spring. So I guess I'm ready for spring, but intense onset of it. So the equinox, spring, happens here in the Northern Hemisphere on the 19th, fall for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere. And at the same time, the sun moves into Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac. So it's a new calendar year for the zodiac. What this means is March is very supportive for action, time to take action. Again, keep asking, where's that action sourced? Is it from your fears and insecurities, you as a child, which is frenetic and scary and blaming? Or are your actions sourced from your intuition? And that just gives you a calmness. So it's getting more and more clear this month, really clear. Lunar eclipse on March 25th, and lots of things about lunar eclipses. You know, it's about emotions showing up. This one specifically is looking at relationships. So it's really a time at the end of this month to up-level your relationships, or maybe decide that some of them aren't worth dragging around with you in the same way that you have. So looking at relationships this month, focus on, this is just for this whole time of these timelines melding, really focus on what you want, not wringing your hands over what we see and what you don't want. Turn off the TV because it's always about what you don't want. Turn on classical music so you can be dreamy. It's so important that we get out of the old timeline and we create our structure, our energy field, our frequencies for the unknown, wonderful world that we are creating. And you're supported. We're all supported. So coming up in March, our Mark classes on Monday, this extraordinary multidimensional guide. He's starting a whole new series. A series lasts about 9 months of classes, and this is called Grace. We're working with the 12th dimension, and Mark says grace is the operating system of the 12th dimension. He says grace is both the cause of change and the effect of the change. So I'm so excited to be part of really opening grace. He's calling this first class, which starts again on the 18th, sorry, the path of transcendency. Again, the 12th dimension, grace. And I encourage you to, I think we've got it up on the website now, to look at it and jump in. You don't need to have done these Mark classes before. You don't need to know what a 12th dimension is. You just need to know that we are ready for grace. So thank you very much for your time today. May you have, this is the first day of the month, may you have a blessed, powerful, and positive March. You're really supported this month as we expand our consciousness. Thank you.